Hi there, I'm Molly.
And I'm Jamie, and this is our From the Pasture with Hired Hand podcast.
For 15 years now, we've been proudly helping breeders promote hundreds of thousands of pedigree livestock with our easy-to-use animal management-driven website software.
And let's not forget about Hired Hand Live, where over $1 million worth of livestock is sold online each year.
We're excited to bring you market trends, sales data, advice from your fellow breeders, and stories from the ranch.
Our software makes managing your website and your animals a breeze, so you can focus on what you love.
So let us handle your digital chores while you tune in to another episode of From the Pasture with Hired Hand. Welcome to this episode of From the Pasture with Hired Hand. Today we're visiting the beautiful pastures of Little Rustic Farm located in Sardis, Alabama, a first-generation farm family where they raise registered Texas Longhorns, German Shorthair Pointers, Nigerian Dwarf Goats, and host small farm parties. My guests are Kyle and Sara Nelson, and I'm your host, Molly Clubb. I'm excited to take you on another journey into the world of Texas Longhorn and the breeders who care for them. Thank you both for joining me.
Nice to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. I'm excited to learn about a lot of these things. I have a lot of questions, especially about some of the non-Longhorn stuff. But let's go ahead and just start. Tell me a little bit about each of you and maybe how you kind of got into, being a first generation rancher.
All right. So my name is Kyle and this is Sara. We've been married for 10 years this year. We have 3 kids, 6, 4, and 2. We got 2 girls and 1 boy. Like you said, we basically just wanted to have this life for our kids. And so this journey started, I guess, 3, 4 years ago?
We lived in a neighborhood until about 3 years ago, and we just kind of redid an old house, and that's what bought our farm.
Yeah, so we basically did everything to the house besides we paid somebody to put a roof on it. But other than that, we did most of the work ourselves, and we used all the profits from that to put a down payment on some farmland. We just initially started with no animals. Of course, the gateway drug for farm animals is chickens. So that's kind of what really started everything. Was our oldest girl. Her grandparents got some chickens, and she absolutely loved them. And so we got some of our own, and then that's what started the whole plan of remodeling the house to get some farmland. And so when we got here, of course, we got more chickens, and that quickly led to goats and pigs. And then we added more dogs too, because we had one. She was fixed, but then we decided, hey, we could probably, we really love these dogs, so we want to breed them. And so that led to looking into breeding some German Shorthair Pointers. And then we have 14 acres that we were leasing out to a guy that had cows, just commercial cattle on it. We just decided that we wanted to have our own cows. So we kind of started looking into what cows we did. And then one thing led to another. So, yeah.
That's about how we got here.
Yeah.
It's one thing after another.
Yeah.
We got a lot of ideas.
So you started looking at cows. What made you decide on Longhorns? Because there's a lot of other ones more popular out there. So I'm curious to hear.
And especially in Alabama, Longhorns which there's a lot more than what I initially thought. Breeders. There's a lot of unregistered breeders here, but of course I didn't know it when we got them that we have two of the biggest names in Alabama. We actually had almost decided, and we're about to go buy. There's a breed called South Pole. I don't know if you're familiar with the group Alabama, the musical band,
Country stuff.
Yeah, the country band. Teddy Gentry is the bass player for them, and he's a big time cattle guy. And so he combined 4 different breeds of cattle to create a cow that would thrive in our
climate,
our heat and humidity, and also would thrive on just pasture. So grass fed animal. And there's a guy that's maybe 15, 20 minutes from us that breeds them.
We go to church with him.
Yeah. And so we're almost going to buy them, and then we were like, hey, for a beef operation, we only have 14 acres. I don't really think it's going to fit, what we have right now, especially not with, you need a lot more land than that to be successful in a beef operation, in my opinion. So we just kind of waited maybe a week or two, and my brother-in-law lives in Auburn, more like Opelika, and that's basically, you know, within an hour of Miss Nancy Dunn's place and Jimmy Jones and all them. And Austin Patton is his small animal vet down there. So they were taking their dog to the vet or something, and one thing led to another. My brother-in-law is a big talker, so um, he gets to talking with Austin, and he's like, "Hey, do you know anybody that would be interested in some registered Texas Longhorns?" And of course, my brother-in-law was like, "Yeah, my brother-in-law and my sister are looking for cows," and so
He kept sending them to us. He kept sending us pictures and stuff,
yeah.
and
So
we thought about it for a while.
we started researching Texas Longhorns, and we were like, well, I mean, this fits exactly what we want to do. You know, there's so much you can do with them, more than just beef, and so that's kind of how we landed on them.
So you mentioned Jimmy Jones and Nancy Dunn. Did they play a part in your growth or your journey over the years at all? Have you been fortunate enough to visit there, or are you just aware that that you get to share the same state with them and their breeding?
We have visited Miss Nancy's. We went back in the spring, and my goodness, that place.
We couldn't see it all.
I mean, we thought we saw it all, and we were there for what, 3 or 4 hours, and we were getting ready to go, and she was like, "Well, where are you going? We've got 100 acres over here and 100 acres over here, and this herd here," and I was like, "What?" You know, and her animals that she's got around her house are, I mean, our jaws were on the floor the whole time we were there, and she was so nice. I mean, she took us around everywhere, and we had all of our 3 kids with us, and they were climbing all over everything, and we kept trying to apologize, you know, and tried to take in as much information as we could with her, and we really enjoyed our time there, and she gave us a lot of great insight, and we've seen Austin's place, and we met Jimmy Jones. We went to our first show in Georgia, the Peach State, and we met Jimmy Jones there, and they put us on the liars list, is what they call it. So we've got to get there to get off the liars list.
So how many head of Longhorns are you up to today?
Well, we have just us. We have, was it 7? I think. And then my brother-in-law has a steer here, and we've also got her favorite cow, which is a Jersey. So she just kind of mixed in with them.
We have 8.
Well, yes, that's right. We do. We have 8. Yeah.
So your ranch name, Little Rustic Farm. Tell me a little bit about, or I guess I should say your farm name. Sorry. Tell me a little bit about where that came from.
She'll say that it just came from a Google search and just kind of threw things together. But we only have 20 acres altogether. We actually just secured 5 more acres. We didn't buy it. We're just leasing it directly across the road from us. But we've only got 20 acres, so that's where the little comes in. And then our farm, it's just got a rustic feel to it. Everything here is kind of weathered by time, and we have a really old barn, and you've probably seen in the pictures, there used to be an old county road that runs like straight through our pasture. And there's a bridge, there's a creek that winds through our pasture also, and there's a bridge that's kind of got a really rustic feel to it. So that's where rustic comes from. And then of course farm, just to finish it.
Well, I feel like you have farm covered with all the different animal breeds we're going to talk about coming up here. But I'm curious, one thing you touched on is that once you realized your family wanted to live the farm life, you rehabbed a house, right? That was how you told the story. So I think there's a lot of folks out there who think that they'd love to live on a farm, or that they have dreams of it, but they think, oh, I can't afford it, or I don't know how to get started, or that sort of stuff. Is the path that you took, are you happy with that? Would you recommend it to others? Like, it obviously got you towards your end goal of having a farm. It might not have been how you envisioned it going, but was it worth it? Would you do it again?
Oh yeah.
100%.
Oh yeah. It was a very old house, tons of wallpaper, some hideous flooring. It was awful, but what we did was pretty much all cosmetic.
Mm-hmm.
And it took us 5 years, but that's because we're slow. We could have done it faster. And then it paid off for us big time. it helped us out a lot.
Yeah. And the only thing I would add is just, family, of course, helped us through the whole process. And when you throw kids in the mix, it gets really tough to do big projects, but yeah, family helped out big time. And, it's just like anything, if you want to do something, you're going to put in the hard work for it. And so you've got to be willing to do that and to do things yourself, so.
With anything in life, right? All right, so you told me a little bit about how you guys started with the Longhorns, and I heard briefly about kind of how you've grown the German Shorthairs kind of out of that passion. Tell me about how all these other animals came to be and how many you have and what role they play.
Well, I don't really know. Neither one of us grew up with animals other than I had a dog. He didn't even have a dog. But other than that, we didn't ever have that much. We just kind of started. A lot of it started with our little girl, and she wasn't afraid of anything. She loved animals. We would take her like all the time to go see other animals at these. We have like a little thing on Saturdays called Trade Day where everybody brings their animals and stuff and trades them. And she'd just go up there and look at all the chickens. She always wanted to ride the horses and all that kind of stuff. And then when we moved out here and got the chickens, we started having our own eggs. And then we started thinking about all this other stuff that we could have as far as groceries that, came from our farm, and we knew where it was coming from. So we ended up loving the goats. So we got some dairy goats. And we got just a couple, and then we had some advice from a breeder, and she said, make sure you like it first and then get the nice ones. And I think we had just some regular old goats for like a couple of months, and then we ended up buying a bunch of registered dairy goats and milking them and having milk. And then we thought it'd be nice to have our own meat, and then so we got some pigs, and then we ended up getting the cattle and all that kind of stuff. So it was just kind of like a snowball effect, I guess.
Yeah, and taking care of goats and pigs, like cows, when you don't grow up on a farm, you just kind of think a cow is overwhelming just because of the size of them and everything. But there's a lot to do with the goats. The pigs are not so much. They can kind of, get by with very little maintenance. We bought the pigs we have are called coonies. So people kind of laugh when you say that name, it's kind of a weird name. But what they're known for is thriving off just grazing. And if you look at a cooney pig, their snouts are kind of short and kind of turned up a little bit. So I won't say they won't root up the ground and ruin your pasture. Like,
they don't ruin your pasture. They just root up shallowly. It keeps everything growing good. Like, their pasture is the most lush pasture.
It's incredible. I wish we could keep them in our cow pasture just because they eat the weeds and everything. Like, I went out there this summer and took a picture. Like, our cow pasture's here and our pig pasture's here. Their side was just, it was like a shade of green you've never seen before, and it was just lush, and of course the cows was not. They eat all the good grass first, and then
left the weeds for us.
Yeah. So, but that's the reason why we picked those, because we actually wanted to sell to the public too. But the coonies take so much longer to grow out, and there's really only enough for just us, which is perfect, because I would rather just be able to grow everything we have here. They kind of just live that way.
That each of your family members play in the day-to-day operations of the farm?
Well, they're 6, 4, and 2. So they like to help. They love to help feed.
Yes, they do.
And if we have babies, our 6-year-old is the little nurse. So right now we have 2 litters of puppies, and she goes out there and lets the moms go to the potty, and then we'll let them back in, and then we have a little runt, and she's making sure it's eaten and stuff like that. But that's about as deep as they go right now.
They love going out with the goats, so they go and spend hours with them.
The goats follow around like little puppies.
Our little boy, he's a rambunctious little boy, so you got to keep an eye on him. He loves the job. So, but yeah, other than that, Sarah, she mainly does, like, especially with the dogs, she does all the communications on, like Messenger and stuff like that, trying to do the post and stuff on our web page and like Facebook and all that. I do most of the grunt work, which is, make sure everybody's fed, make sure everybody has water. And, we've learned a lot as far as like intervening on like birth time and all that stuff with the goats and stuff. And Sarah's, like
surprised myself.
Yeah. 10 years ago, if you'd have told me Sarah would be out there castrating pigs, I'd have been like, no way. So,
we've learned a lot. We've kind of taken a learn as you go approach to it.
And thank goodness for YouTube.
Yeah.
Have you noticed a difference with the kids, like how the farm life is affecting them and helping them? I know it sounds like maybe some of them didn't know any different based on their age, but the older ones, do you see a difference?
Yes, they love it. They would never go back to the neighborhood. They love to help. They love to work. They love to be outside, which all good things. Mm-hmm. And then we homeschool too, so a lot of our farm life is their school. So it's been really good learning experience and really good in instilling a hard work ethic and stuff.
And when you went to like the Peach State show out and those sorts of things, is it a family trip, or do you guys get away? And
we used it as, let's see how this goes first, and then we'll take the kids. So we want to go to the one in Kentucky this spring and take them with us to that one.
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking last night. Or I schedule vacation at my other job. I'm a full-time firefighter, and we also run a full-time lawn care when I'm on my off days. But I scheduled 2 weeks worth of vacation around the bluegrass and the Nashville one this year. Music City, yes, yeah. So we scheduled vacation around those two this year.
So we're for sure wanting to take them to the one in Kentucky, and it's close to the Ark and all that. So we'll just have a whole homeschool trip out of it and do all that.
Yep.
Make it more of a family affair, I guess.
I'm sure they'll enjoy that.
And now a word from our sponsors.
From the Pasture by Hired Hand is presented by R3 Hilltop Ranch. Located in Chilton, Texas, R3 Hilltop Ranch has been breeding registered Texas Longhorns since 2006. What began as 3 heifers has grown into our current herd, which you can explore on our website at r3hilltop.com. We're passionate about loud colors, longhorns, and docile temperaments, but it's the easy-keeping, low-maintenance traits of Texas Longhorns that initially attracted us and continue to drive our herd growth. In addition to livestock, we proudly offer certified Longhorn beef products. Visit r3hilltop.com/beef to learn more. Thank you for listening and enjoy exploring our ranch online at r3hilltop.com.
Overwhelmed with your digital chores? Let us lend a hand. From websites and animal management to internet auctions, graphic design, marketing, search engine optimization, and more, Hired Hand Software is your hired hand for all things digital.
Specializing in pedigree, livestock, breeds, and beyond, we handle the tech so you can focus on the animals you love. Visit hiredhandsoftware.com today, where your digital chores just got a whole lot easier.
Looking for top quality Longhorns and a taste of true Texas spirit? Look no further than Cantera Cattle Company. Our passion for Longhorns shines at Old Gringo Ranch, where tradition meets excellence. Visit us online at CanteraCattleCompany.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok for the latest updates and ranch life fun. Ready to experience it yourself? Schedule your visit by emailing canteracattle@gmail.com. Remember, God is great, Longhorns are good, and life is crazy.
Well, let's switch gears back to the Longhorns specifically here for a little bit. So tell me about some of your favorites in the herd. Tell me about kind of your breeding strategies, your plans for the future. Let's talk through some of that.
So our favorites, it's kind of complicated. We bought from Austin. So when we first made that deal, it was a mother and a daughter, which the mom was 5. And the daughter was 3 at the time, and they both had heifers at their side, and they were both bred back. And so it was 2 3-in-1 deals, which later on, come to find out, it was a perfect storm for us. We got really lucky because they both had heifers then too. So we went from basically 4 to 6, and they were all cows, yeah. So Our favorite would probably be Dun Ditto, which is, she's an investment cow over, Dun Time Bomb. Investment goes back to once I started, when we bought them, we didn't know these names. We just knew we were buying registered cows. So I don't guess we just enjoyed them for a little while, maybe 5, 6 months. We didn't do anything. We actually didn't register them in our name until 6, 7 months down the road. And, one day I was like scrolling through Facebook and I saw you might like Longhorn Friends on Facebook. So I joined that. And I don't know, hindsight 2020, it may be a bad thing, maybe a good thing. So that's what really kicked off our obsession. So I got on there and then I realized I saw these names and then I scrolled by and I saw investment. And I was like, hey, that's the Messiah of our, Dun Ditto. And I was like, so I got into that and I saw where it linked to our Hired Hand website. And then I scrolled down and saw the pedigrees and I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. So I started just researching and going from there. And now look at us, here we are. So, anyways, Dun Ditto is probably our favorite just because all but one cow is either a daughter or a granddaughter of her right now. So, but what's quickly growing on me is her calf that she had back in February. She's a blue-eyed cow, heifer, and she's got a really fancy paint job on her, and she's just a sweetie. You can go out there and just walk her right up.
She loves to give kisses.
And loves her, a noggin scratch and everything. So,
all the rest of them are a little more standoffish, but she just loves us.
Yeah.
So have you thought about, like, with attending the Kentucky sale and the Music City sale, or have you started planning a few generations out with what you want to do with them, or who you're going to have your eye on for some bloodlines in those sales or anything?
Absolutely, all the time. It's just the thing that stops us right now is money, of course, and pasture room. So really, we're at max capacity as far as land right now. Austin is letting us use one of his young bulls. So basically, just trying to get some more progeny out there from him. And just in return, I'm just keeping him healthy and giving him a job. So, and he is actually out of Miss Nancy's. I think from what I can tell on Facebook is one of her favorite bulls, which is Dun Got Double Lucky. So he's a son of his, and he's just a really pretty color. He's got really low swooping horns, and so we're expecting his first ones. But we did buy a young bull. We're really extremely excited about this young bull.
That's awesome. Do you feel like you both agree on like your favorite type of Longhorn, or like the look that you're going for, or the characteristics, the traits that you want to breed into your program, or are you on two different parts of the spectrum there?
We agree pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them he'll like, and I'll be like, some of them with their horn shape he likes, and I'm like, it looks like they got a headache, stuff like that. But that's just silly stuff.
We're trying to breed towards twisty. We really love twisty horn. Like our Dun Ditto cow. She's from a really twisty line, which goes back to Horseshoe J Feet, which is one of my favorite cows in the breed. We just really like twisty horns, and we really like pretty paint jobs, of course. But we really want to breed towards really, docile cows for our girls and boys, especially. We want to try. I mean, we're not going to make them do it, but if they, show an interest in wanting to show and halter show, we would like to be able to do that. So we just really want to breed towards, what makes Longhorns. Just all the traits that Longhorns are known for. We want to, continue that and make them better in that, but also do the twisty horns and the pretty paint jobs. So.
What do you feel like I know you said you're kind of maxed out with land right now, but in an ideal situation, like with your new lease pasture or that sort of stuff, what do you feel like your ideal herd size would be?
We were talking about this last night. I would really like to have this herd be, maybe 10 brood cows and this 10 brood cows, and have two different bulls, with those herds, and be able to kind of. We do like the Butler cows really interest me. I don't know much about them yet. I haven't had time to just be able to sit down and just completely study them. But I would really like to have 100% Butler breed, or herd, I mean, and then of course continue what we're doing now with the twisty horn cows, and continuing trying to do that. And so basically, I guess to answer your question, uh, maybe 20 cows, somewhere in there. I don't want to be overwhelmed with them, because we don't have a ranch hand or anything. So, with working 2 other jobs, I don't want to stress myself out I don't want the cows to stress me out. I love just being able to come home in the afternoons and just watching them eat and graze and be and whatnot. So just the calming that you get from these cows, I don't want to take away from that, if that makes sense.
Well, you'll have to add the sale in Lockhart over Labor Day weekend to your list if you're interested in the Butler.
For sure. Yes, we've got so many we want to go to. It's just, you can only fit so much into a busy schedule.
Well, one thing that you and I have talked about, which I don't know if I should say this in front of Sarah or not, but I suggested that you put some animals in our monthly sale now that you have a website, and you said, I don't know if I'm ready quite yet. Maybe soon. So that would be one way. You just get rid of a few that you have and can bring
them. And we've already picked one out.
We've picked one out for this next year. So,
but she's bred, so we already thought.
We want to see what she has first. But either way, we'll probably sell her next year, and we'll probably utilize that option. That's a great option for sure. So,
yeah, we're watching a few on your sale right now.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Have you guys used Hired Hand Live to watch some of the live sales too, or is the monthly sale the most you kind of participated in?
I don't think Sarah has, but I have watched a couple. Not all the way through, but just trying to, which is kind of hard, like with anybody talks about. You can watch them walk through on online and whatnot, and you kind of compare, your cows to those cows and what they go for and whatnot. But until you see them in person, it's kind of hard to do that. But I do like watching to see what brings what and why, and kind of study that and pick it apart. So usually when I'm watching now, I'm at the fire hall and we've got some downtime, so I'll sit there with my notepad and kind of jot down what cows these came from and how much it sold for.
We did pull it up too at the Peach State show out, because we were in there in the sale, and they would announce that someone else came and bid, and so we would kind of pull it up and look at it there too. That's kind of neat.
Are you all the family that when the sale catalogs come in the mail, you're sitting down and looking through those together, or the kids are circling their wish list? Are you there yet?
He won't let me look at them till he's looked at them.
I'm sure it'll get that way.
It's like Happy Meal for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about marketing and your website. So what would you say that your favorite part of having a hired hand website is? What's your favorite kind of functionality or tool that you like to use?
Mine especially is the pedigrees. That's the way you study y'all make it so easy to just, like, if you like this cow, what's really intrigued me here lately is consistency, and especially on the maternal side of a bull. I've really been honing in on that, on bulls and stuff. Just, if you go click on their pedigree and you can see, 3 or 4 generations worth of cows in it, and you can click on one maybe you never heard of before, and you can say, for more information, click on this website, and you can go to their website and see, it's so easy to research, and especially having the pictures there. It makes it really hard to go research a cow if it's not on hired hand, because it's just really hard to navigate through. So that would be my favorite thing. And then what's really helped is people ask all the time for pedigrees on our puppies.
Yeah, we've sold several already. Just sold several just from having that website, and I think it makes us look more. There's so many scams, and almost the only way to sell dogs these days is on Facebook. And that's where all the scams are. So when you have a website they can go to and see, and they can see their pedigrees and everything, I think it makes us look more legitimate. And I had a phone call today just from the website.
Mm-hmm. So we've been trying to contact other people we bought our dogs from, and like, hey, can we get a picture of your dog, and if you've got a picture of their parents, And so we've been collecting those, and I've been actually meaning to get with y'all and uploading those pictures and stuff. So
nice, I love it. What is your favorite hired hand website besides your own?
We were talking about this last night. They're also, I don't know if there's like a favorite. They're all so, very similar as far as the way you operate them and everything. I guess the one I visit the most would be the Michigan Mafia, the Hicks. I look at theirs probably every day just because I love what they're doing with their cows. Um,
Yeah.
but other than that, they're all very they're just different color schemes and stuff. So,
It'd be a nice little trip for you both. Just don't make that trip during the winter. That would be my advice.
yeah, she posted a picture yesterday or day before or whatever, of some cows.
All of them covered in snow.
And what the whole connection with me or talking to them, they got a bull this summer named Woody B. It's River Forks Woody B. Tough, which is one that Terry King bred, and 2 of our heifers out in our pasture are bred by him. And so she posted on that Longhorn Friends, Missy Hicks posted on the Longhorn Friends one day, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna shoot her a message and just see if I can see what Woody looks like now. And like maybe 10 minutes later, she sent me one back. And so just the friendliness of this community is, we didn't expect that. Just anybody, like she gave me Johnny's number one day and we talked on the phone for 2 hours. Terry King, I followed him up, talked to him about the same amount of time. Andrew Shigori, I've talked to him a ton. After you had the podcast with Mike Reinhardt, I just sent him a message and, he said, here's my number, call anytime. So I did. And same thing with him. We talked for like 2 hours. And anybody's willing to give you information to help you out. So it's really enjoyable.
Well, when we were going back and forth picking a recording date for this, you had mentioned that you guys think you've listened to almost every podcast episode. So is there one that stands out that you feel like was your favorite, or any that you've gotten advice that you've put to work from, anything like that?
I really enjoyed my Reinhardt's, the Wyoming Cattle Company. Really, I really like listening to people that just know cattle. It just helps people like us that didn't grow up on a farm. We don't know what conformation when you buy cows, you just don't know that. Like when you've never been.
We don't know about having to have a straight back or needing to, and
just all the little things like looking at, like pedigree is important, but it's not everything. So if you look at a cow, there's certain things to look at, and listening to Johnny Hicks had one on the Big Iron podcast, and he talked a lot about that stuff. And then there's been several breeders on here the same way on y'all's podcast, that will kind of go over that stuff and what to look at in a cow, and it's not just pedigree that you need to look at. It's it's all the other stuff too. And the main reason for that is so Longhorns are known to have calves up into their 20s. And so if you buy a cow that is correct in her conformation, she should do that for you. So, if you're gonna breed these cows, you might as well take part in everything they have to offer. And so, I think did I answer your question?
You did, yes, you did. So, one guest we have coming up, and I think it'll be released after you all, so not ruining the surprise or anything. But we are having Nancy Dunn on here soon, and I feel like everyone's gonna be able to learn a ton from her. She's a great. Everybody cow woman to talk about a lot of the things you just mentioned. So.
Yeah, and I actually found an older one. I don't know if if it's a podcast or not, but it's when y'all used to hop in trucks or whatever and ride around. Yeah. It was I don't know if you were in it or Jamie, but y'all were riding around with Nancy and I can't remember the other ladies.
Yep, it was Nancy and Kathy Kittler.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I found that one on YouTube the other day, and Nancy gave a lot of good information in that one, and would you say her name was Kathy?
Kathy Kittler, yeah.
Yeah, she gave a lot of good information as well.
Yes, she's another amazing, just wealth of knowledge when it comes to the cattle. She's awesome. So, and that was a fun pickup truck ride. Didn't we play a game or something? We play like a memory game or a matching game.
It was how much do you know about each other or whatever.
There you go.
Yeah. So.
And now let's hear from our advertisers.
Do you sometimes feel like you're the only one who doesn't have it all figured out? Rural life can be isolating, but it doesn't have to be.
Welcome to Ag's Most Okayest Farm Girls, the podcast for women who are craving connection, laughter, solidarity, camaraderie, and just overall encouragement in your everyday life and dreams.
Each week, your hosts, Annalise, that's me, and Courtney will cover topics such as farm life, mom life, making money online, side hustles, hobbies, sharing on social media, jobs off the farm, and so much more.
Us rural gals need to stick together, so saddle up for some fun, real, and unsolicited advice and stories from our everyday farm lives.
Grab a drink, we're Ag's most okayest farm girls, and we're here to help. Listen wherever you find podcasts.
Planning a live auction and want to reach more buyers? Hired Hand Live brings the power of the internet to your event, allowing bidders from anywhere to participate in real time. We specialize in integrating online bidding seamlessly with your live auction, ensuring that no one misses out.
Your livestock plus our technical expertise equals one successful auction. Let Hired Hand Live help you expand your reach and maximize your results. Visit hiredhandlive.com to learn more.
Well, how about if I like to do this when there's couples on, especially. Are you guys up for some rapid fire questions? We'll see how much your answers differ.
Sounds good.
All right. What's your favorite thing to snack on when you're enjoying your pastures?
Oh, so I'm gonna.
We've already had a disagreement about this.
Oh no.
Well, because I was telling her about I can't remember the people's name you had not too long ago. Maybe the Hires or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
And the guy thought you were talking about their favorite, like his personal favorite, and she was like, no, she meant the cows.
Yeah.
You know?
I've had to find a better way to word that question when I ask it now.
So my favorite, if you're asking for my personal favorite snack, we love cups of coffee and just sitting out there watching the cows. So
I like a little chocolate with it.
And chocolate, yeah. So, we can, from our back porch, we can kind of see our pasture, and so we'll sit out there sometimes, or we also set up a swing over on the other side of the house, and we just kind of every once in a while, if the kids will, stay in that area, because we're kind of like right up on the road. So if we can keep the kids over there, we keep an eye on them, we'll just sit there and sit in the swing and watch the cows and watch the kids play. So.
What about you, Sarah?
I would say I'd sit there and eat a Hershey chocolate bar.
Nice. What is your favorite farm tool?
Mine's easy. It's my tractor. So I love my tractor. And my little boy does too. The only time that he'll actually sit still is on the tractor or the lawnmower. So, like like I said, the cow pasture had to be bush hog this year, and he rode all 14 acres with me. So 6 foot at a time.
Is it a John Deere? What kind of tractor guy are you? Okay.
John Deere for sure.
All right.
I have a milking stand that someone built and gave to me, and that's my favorite. It's perfect. I can sit there with my legs crossed, and instead of just a little small one, it's nice and big.
Nice. Use it every day?
When they're in milk. I don't have any milk right now.
Yeah, it gets to a point where it's like, well, maybe we'll start drying them up. It's a lot of work, especially with
it's cold.
Yeah. Is where you're at your dream location, or do you have plans to maybe live or farm somewhere else someday?
Probably stay here.
Yeah, we love it here.
We don't like a lot of change.
Yeah, I just wish we could add about 20 more acres. If we can
keep adding, there is some land beside us and stuff like that could be a possibility in the future and stuff like that. So if we can just add on a little bit more, I don't think we would want to go anywhere.
One word to describe your herd, or I guess let's specify one word to describe your Longhorn herd.
It's hard to, I don't know. Wait, I saw the rapid fire questions that you gave us, and I think it was like there was another one very similar to it, and we were like, what's the one word for like that would combine all the words of fake it till you make it? Kind of.
That's our goal right now.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Yes, you can just run all those together and count as one word, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. I feel like I've asked you a few of these already. Instagram or Facebook?
Facebook for sure.
All right. So you have one. You guys are probably too young for this, but the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Do you know what the lifeline was in that show? All right. So you have one Longhorn lifeline. Who are you calling?
Probably Austin.
It'd probably be Austin. Yeah,
he's kind of been there for us the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, we text just about every day. And I think if we had any kind of problem whatsoever, he would for sure, be able to help us. And I tell him all the time, I was like, man, if we're successful at this, we owe it all to you, because you, what other breeder can sell you 2 cows and 2 heifers and then give you 2 more heifers? It just, so, and one of them was one that he AI'd to JP Rio Grande, and she gave us a heifer from him. So,
Yeah.
So yeah, I tell him all the time, I was like, we make it big, we owe it all to you. So
he walked us through our that first futurity show too.
Yep.
He was there waiting for us and sat with us the whole time. He was really great.
What if you could get a breeder alone in a room for 10 minutes and just learn from them, ask them questions about their program? Who would you pick?
That's a tough one, because I have a bunch.
Only pick one. That's what makes it a hard question.
I would really like to pick Jimmy Jones's brain. I think that, if you look at what he's done over time, I don't know how long I think it's 40 years now. I can't remember. But just how consistent his cows are. I mean, I've not seen it in person yet, but everybody that you hear talk about him, like if you go to his place, they say that every one of them looks the same. Their horn shape or their color may be a little different, but their body, it's like cookie cutter. And that just comes from hard work and years of putting in, blood, sweat, and tears for it. And so, I feel like he would have pretty much the best knowledge in the breed that, we could learn from. And, I've always heard people say that if he brings a cow to town to sell, that you better watch for it and see what it goes for. So
they're not wrong.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's switch gears one more time here a little bit. Tell me about these small farm parties that you host and that you have adorable pictures on your website.
Well, that kind of just started because we didn't, we just had this little farm here and didn't really think much about it. And we had Lizzie's friends and a lot of our friends just wanting to come and just see the animals and love on them and stuff like that. And we did a birthday party for our girls here, and it turned out really well and kind of gave us the idea that we could maybe do that as a weekend gig kind of thing and just make a little bit of extra money. So it took off more so than what we even wanted it to. And we ended up booking out. We would book Saturdays and Sundays all of last year. This year we said we're going to slow it down a little bit, but it took off well. The kids love it. It's so much fun. They just love the animals, and for the most part, everyone is really good, really respectful to the animals. We've only had a few parties that didn't turn out like that, but yeah, it's worked out really well, and it's been a good little side income since I stay home with the kids and stuff like that. Kind of helps pay for some things.
Yeah, we were like, well, we have all these animals, we might as well,
Yeah.
that they need to put in some work to pay the food bill. So, and they're all like, if we have any crazy animals, we don't keep them.
Yeah.
So we have really, like all our goats, even the pigs, like you can walk out there in the pigs and pet them.
You just rub their bellies and they'll just.
Yeah, they'll fall over. And, but we always bring them up to the front yard. We've got like a little area where, there's a swing set and a trampoline and stuff. And, we added on to our shop to make it a little more appealing and stuff. What's really exciting to me is like a lot of these kids have never seen an animal up close in person, like, just livestock in general. And especially the cows. You used to see the people when they come over to see the cows and they see them walk up with these huge horns and stuff. And
the kids can feed them out of their hands.
Yeah, they can. We don't let them in there with the cows, obviously, but they can feed them to the fence. And especially Austin's bull, he's just a big masculine bull.
And scratch him.
Yeah, you can just walk it when you give him a cube, you can scratch his head, and it blows people's minds. And two, they're like, well, all these are bulls, right? And we're like, no, no, these are mostly cows out here. So, it gives people an education while they're here too.
Yeah, it's funny the amount of people that think if the animal has horns, it's a bull.
Yeah.
Right. I think when we used to haul, and people would come up to the trailer, that was probably the biggest question we got too. It's a big misconception for sure.
Yeah.
It is.
Do you feel like, some of those kids or maybe even the adults will look back like 10 years from now and you guys will be the reason they were interested in maybe following your path and living a life more in agriculture or farming?
For sure. Most of the moms that come usually end up telling me this party was more for me than the kids.
We had one this year. She's like, I'm going to have to admit something here. I did this mostly for me.
All the families love it, and it's good. It's an educational party because they ask so many questions,
Mhm.
and then a lot of them do end up. We know a couple of families that have ended up buying animals later afterwards and getting into it themselves. So
Yeah.
it's very educational. It's really good for the kids, like to know where your food comes from, and all that kind of stuff.
And we've actually had repeat birthday parties. We've actually had 3 or 4 now that they've had them. We've only been doing this for 2 years now, and they've done it both years. So
That's awesome. Are there any other plans for like that type of stuff in the farm's future? Like, have you? I know a lot of people go like the Airbnb route or other experiences. Have you thought any more about that?
I don't know that we would do an Airbnb, but we have thought about in our cow pasture at the very front of it there is we have a little rental house, but it's a double wide, so it can be moved. So a plan in the future is to maybe sell it once we the rent pays for that side of the property. So we thought we would pay it off and then build a little venue there because so many people want venues. And it's not a hard gig when you do it,
mm-hmm.
when you do it like we do it and just like let everybody handle their party. We just keep the place clean, and make sure it's taken care of. So, and we thought even for our own parties, it would be nice to have that out there with the Longhorns and the farm and the barn behind it because you don't get as good of a view at our house.
I feel like maybe we'll have you guys back on in like 5 or 10 years and you'll be telling me about how you're hosting the next Longhorn sale in Alabama at your place.
Well, I have kicked it around because I started a little like a little small Facebook group with just breeders in Alabama. It's not very it's hard to get it going. I'm just trying to get people to post on there and stuff.
Well, give us your shout out. Tell everybody here about it.
It's just called Longhorn Breeders of Alabama. And I was just trying to get everybody to be able to share resources and stuff.
Like selfishly for us.
Yeah, just which I know we have Setla. We plan on joining that this year. We're going to go to the meeting and I think it's January. So we're going to join that. I know we have that, but just to have another option, just to kind of promote the breed in Alabama. We actually set up a guy just right down the road from us, maybe a mile down the road from us. He bought
next road over.
He bought 2 cows from Austin, and Austin's supposed to be bringing it up next week or something like that. And so if we can just continue to do this, and then I know nothing about setting up a sale yet, but I do have plans because we've got several big time, like the Merrimans, and of course you got Jimmy and Nancy and of course Austin, and there's several more, and I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, but there's several people in Alabama. I think we've got so many ag complexes, and especially North Alabama, that we could use. I would like to maybe within, like you said, 5-10 years, set one up in Alabama.
Well, I won't say we'll hold you to it, but we'll probably hold you.
Yeah. We'll just see where life takes us.
Yeah.
Well, what haven't I asked you about that you want our listeners to know about your farm, your breeding program, your Longhorns?
I would just tell people, don't be afraid to reach out to anybody. If they don't answer, they don't answer. I haven't met anybody that I'll send them a message on Facebook. That's one thing, after every podcast I listen to, I'll add those people on Facebook and then send them a message and tell them that, thank you for your time on that podcast. And, I learned a lot about y'all and what you had to offer. So, just try to make connections with people. That's everything in this thing. If people don't know who you are, they're not going to give you any time. So, if you reach out to people and express interest in what they have to offer, and just be friendly with people, and you can learn something from everybody. And then just find a breeder that's local to you and go see them and their cows. And, there's something about making those connections in person that can really maybe jumpstart you on your journey. So.
Well, here's hoping that you all get a lot of messages after the podcast airs and that you get a lot of new faces out at the farm as well. I wish that for you both.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us from the Pasture with Hired Hand. We hope you enjoy this visit to Little Rustic Farm. and learn something new about the world of Texas Longhorns. If you like today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. You can always explore more stories from the pasture by visiting our website, the Nelson's website, or following us on social media. And until next time, remember to appreciate the pastures you roam and the traditions that make them special.
Are you a new Longhorn breeder eager to educate yourself on market trends and sale prices? Stay in the loop with our text messages. Get the latest updates, events, and insider tips on all things Longhorns delivered straight to your phone.
Stay informed by texting website to 888-700-8131, then reply with Longhorns. That's website to 888-700-8131. Sign up today and take your breeding program to the next level.